hello! And hello, John.
In a monochrome world, working from the side through her lonely eyes. It reflects the ocean and stars, but her cry echoes around the simple loss of love.
Hello, Ice Starmie.
Making this so
I can see that you've come in during the opening, so I've only just started. I like the opening so very much. It's a good song, it's good visuals, just good all around.
Of the day, the only reason you have to stay. Hear me sing my song and just keep holding on. Cinderella, why don't you stay with me tonight? We will dance until midnight comes and we could run away. Oh, we will never ever be apart. Set aside all your fears, this magic lives inside your heart. I am here, would you wanna stay with me tonight? Follow me, we will run across the bridge of fantasy. All the pain and sadness that you feel, believe in me.
Okay.
Hold me close, don't never let me go. Come and stay with me forever. Magic lives so long as I am here.
So, we are finally into new content territory. Chapter 3 is generally where things... Oh, don't mind that. I decided I want to get all the achievements for the game, so I did a little playthrough to get, to at least play the game through that if I want to get all the achievements for the game, it's basically there's an achievement for each good ending and each bad ending, and for getting, like, all of each kind of ending. So, yeah, so that's something I will be working on the side, but I will only be playing the good endings for my on-stream. Alright, I think we were in, yes, on page 2, so. Alright, so starting in with chapter 3, which brings us finally to new content, as generally the content of chapters 1 and 2 are pretty much the same, except for in chapter 2 where you get to start asking someone for help in chapter 2. And I mean, technically you don't have, it doesn't seem to like do anything particular to choose like the applicable love interest for the route that you're planning to do, but like it gives new content, so I think it's worth it and I'll be keeping up that trend. Alright, so we have, let's just do the thing. Oops. Oh, come on. No, go back proper. Chapter 3, The Flatterer. Lucette. I do not know why the first person that popped into... Oh, I should probably... I am not quite back in the habit yet. It's Lucette thinking to herself. I do not know why the first person that popped into my mind was Rumpel. Just because he puts a smile on ladies' faces with his flirting does not mean he can help me do a good deed. And yet, here I am. I find Rumpel on break, surrounded by a few giggling ladies. His hands make dramatic sweeping gestures as he showers them with compliments. Rumpel. And you, my sweet, are like sunshine peeking through the clouds on a dark day. You litter the ground with so much golden light and make every flower reach out towards your warmth. Lucette thinking to herself. On second thought, maybe I should reconsider. Rumpel. Princess! Rumpel notices me, however, and immediately waves me over. Lucette. Silence. Alright, we have our very first choice. I think I'm gonna go with my first instinct for all the choices, and then we'll see if we get the right choice indicator. Alright, so I talked a little bit about last time where I don't particularly have a problem with Rumpel flirting with girls who are enjoying it, and they've now made clear that, like, there are plenty of girls that he'll flirt with, and they'll be happy for the attention. I have a problem with when he is persistently flirting with the girls who have expressly stated they are not interested and do not enjoy his attentions. Because that kind of persistence is not attractive. You know, just stick with the people who like being complimented and leave the people who don't want you to pester them alone. Anyway, so my first instinct is to turn and walk away. It's probably not the right answer, but we'll find out. Lucette, I just remembered that I have something to do. I turn around to start walking away, but I am immediately stopped when I feel Rumpel's hand on my shoulder. Lucette, shocked. I slap his hand away. Rumpel, fierce as always. You remind me of a rose with thorns, princess. He leans closer and winks at me. But the thorns are what make the rose so alluring. Lucette, are you always so persistent, or do you actually want me to slap you again? Rumpel, you slapping me is but a small blockade in the road. I will never give up on you, princess. Lucette thinking to herself, does he enjoy it when I purposefully try to ignore him? Rumpel, the most brilliantly sparkling gems are buried deep within the ground and take much effort to unearth. Lucette, what? Rumpel, princess, you are like one of those gems. Oh, damn it, I knew it would be. Okay, so the correct answers with Rumpel are the ones where Lucette clearly shows a lack of interest, and I don't love that. Not gonna lie. So yes, he's just established that he is very excited to keep trying with Lucette because she is so cold and standoffish, and I can kind of see it, but like... yeah, okay, fair. Being a Tsune is the right way. And I'd be fine if it were actually tsundere, but at this point it really feels more to me like Lucette is just not here for this, and Rumpel is kind of pushing the issue. I hope that eventually it starts feeling more like she is being tsundere, because, like, when someone is being tsundere, it's very obviously a front, and we're early enough on in the route that so far it don't feel like a front. It feels like Lucette is just like, I can't with this guy. But fair enough, you did tell me that might be the right answer, and I will certainly bear that in mind moving forward. Anyway, Lucette says, no, I am not like a gem. Lady A, Rumpel, why would you deal with someone like her? Lucette thinking to herself, what? Rumpel, Lucette is like a budding flower, and I want to do my best to help her bloom in whatever way I can. You've come to me for advice, right? Lucette, how did he know? Thinking to herself. Yeah, okay, so Starmie agrees with me. That's one of the reasons why I don't see any chemistry between Lucette and Rumpel. Yeah, I'm not buying it. Like, I think I see roughly the tropes that this route is trying to go for, and it does involve, like, you know, the like, you know, playing on Lucette being naturally kind of tsundere leaning, but like ultimately it seems like the theme of this route is the guy who keeps trying with the, you know, cold, like, it's like, oh, she acts like a nice princess, but I'm sure there's more underneath, and that's fine and all, except for, like, the ways in which he persistently tries with her are just ways that in every other route she is strongly indicated would not normally work with her, so it just makes this route not feel particularly in character for Lucette. Okay, fair enough. If you're not mistaken, at the end of the route there will be more sweet choices. That makes sense, right? Like, it'll start like I said, I think I see what this route is going for. It's gonna be Lucette being all brusque and uninterested, and then as time goes on, he's gonna grow on her like fungus, and she'll start being like opening up a little and being, and then like the nicer choices become more correct. So yeah, it's very much he's gonna grow on her over time, and I am specifically very uncomfortable with in real life. This is a huge thing, right? Like a like playboy flirtatious guy like this will go after a girl and she'll say, no way, I'm not interested, and he'll keep bothering her. And the thing is, in media, that is way too often romanticized, and it's like, oh, she's just playing hard to get, and eventually he'll break through the shell. But in most cases, in real life, no, really, the girl is not interested, and if you keep bothering her like this, that is called harassment. Ugh. There was even an ask the developers about Rumpel's... Okay, so there was a ask to the developers about Rumpel's type, and he said that his type was the girl who plays hard to get. So yeah, that makes sense. I just think I would be more comfortable with this if it felt like actually playing hard to get and not just like he's she has no interest until he pesters her into it. So yeah, I'm gonna try to let my... It is fiction, and in fiction, problematic tropes are not as bad as they are in real life. So I am gonna try to set aside my intrinsic dislike of this trope and accept that this is a, sure, we'll go with the fact that Lucette keeps choosing to go talk to Rumpel and ask him for advice maybe means that she is more interested than she's willing to admit. And so Rumpel is not totally barking up the wrong tree, and it's not just one-sided harassment. That's how I will headcanon this, so that I will stop feeling deeply uncomfortable about what feels kind of like borderline harassment from him. Also, thank you for the link, Ice Starmie. I will open that up to check out later. Oh wait, actually no, it's quite short. Okay, so just asking for a friend, what kind of girl do you like? And then they have Rumpel respond, every lady is charming in her own way, so I'm tempted to say I don't have a type. But I do like women who play hard to get. That's not a type, really, just a preference when it comes to flirting. And, there are ways when both parties are on board for, hard, for someone to actually play hard to get and not actually being yeah, no. So, I guess, yeah, like I said, I'm just gonna have to try really hard to headcanon that Lucette is doing that, actually is more interested than she thinks she is, I guess. But yes, alright. I say all of this because I will try to keep it to once per chapter, unless there's a specific line that makes me want to comment again to complain about Rumpel's persistence, just because I don't want to turn the entirety of Rumpel's route into a stream about how this kind of flirty persistence from guys is more often problematic than actually appreciated or good in any way. Alright, so we're going back to the thing and gonna try to push on. Anyway, Rumpel. The look of shock on your face is adorable, and so absolutely satisfying. It seems I hit the nail right on the head. Lady V. Rumpel, she is obviously too stubborn to admit that she needs your help. Lucette, thinking to herself, these women are infuriating. Oh, good visual, I'll admit. Rumpel leans a little closer to me, and suddenly he is whispering in my ear. Rumpel. Let me tell you something, Princess. Making a person happy just to see them smile is definitely a good deed. Lucette. Huh? Rumpel. Making someone feel important is never a disservice. What do you think? I'm pretty knowledgeable, aren't I? Like, alright, I don't wholly disagree with him, right? Like, trying to make someone smile just for the sake of cheering them up is good, yes. Yes, like, that by itself is generally good. I don't disagree. It's just, again, Yeah, the problem is trying to keep Lucette in character, since it would make sense for Lucette to be interested in him right away, and personally, I don't think it makes sense for her to fall in love with him, period. Yeah, I don't disagree. Like I said, I'm gonna have to be pushing some, like, headcanon suspension of disbelief to make this route work, even just in my head. Anyway, Lucette, thinking to herself, all he ever talks about is doting on people, flirting with them, and making them smile. Rumpel continues talking. Rumpel, which is why I will make an excellent partner. I take a step back. Rumpel is now looking at me with a triumphant smile. Lucette, how did you... Rumpel, I am very perceptive, princess. Lucette, you overheard my conversation with Parfait? Rumpel, she told me about it. Lucette, she did? Rumpel, only briefly. Lucette, so you're not perceptive at all? Rumpel, shocked. Rumpel, princess, you cannot see it, but I am drowning in my own tears. Lucette, thinking to herself, he just assumed I was going to be partners with him, which is very annoying. I do not even know why I was considering partnering up with Rumpel when he says the same things over and over again. And I do not think I could be around him day in and day out. Delora. Oh my, what do I spot here? Delora appears before us, a sly smile on her face. Slacking off, you two? Rumpel. I'm on break! Delora. That break ended about 5 minutes ago, Rumpel. And princess, I think there's a room that needs attending. Lucette. Fine. Thinking to herself, there is no use complaining, and I would rather get away from Rumpel. Rumpel turns to the ladies and smiles. Rumpel, my lovely ladies, I will be back later, and I promise that we will continue our conversation without any interruptions. Oh, and princess, we'll continue our conversation later as well. Lucette. Silence. I walk off before Rumpel can try to shower more of his compliments onto me. Like, literally, in Karma's Route, there was, like, a whole thing about how Lucette could relate to Jurian because she also did not like a whole lot of extra flowery attention. And, like, but, like, Karma didn't play it up the way, like, he is, like, a little dramatic and flowery, but he never played it up the way Rumpel does. Like, and so, early on, he would, like, shower her with affection a little bit, and then he'd, like, back off because he was trying not to go overboard with that for, you know, yes, various reasons involving his curse, but, like, I appreciated that he was never painfully over the top to her without it being a little bit silly, like it was a joke. Rumpel, it doesn't really feel like a joke. So yeah, like, it's weird because, like, literally she's even saying now, like, the stuff he does is exactly the kind of thing she doesn't like and doesn't normally respond well to. Right, sorry, I did say I'd try to keep this to a minimum. I do not, like, I will admit, I don't mind the thread that they seem to be trying to get across with Rumpel here, making a person happy just to see them smile. Like, yeah, so it's like making a person happy just for the sake of making them happy. Like, I can see that as actually a good deed, like a positive thing. So, sure, it's not... I can roll with that. Lucette, thinking to herself, making a person happy just to see them smile. Can such a thing really be considered a good deed? The days at the tavern go by quickly over the next week. Annis. Princess? Lucette. Silence. Annis. Princess? Lucette. Shocked. Annis. You've been staring off into space. Lucette. I was just thinking. I just finished using Mr. Broom, and now I am helping Annis sort some of the shelves in the back. Rumpel has taken up the serving for today. The women always enjoy him, but the men are always glaring at him. Annis. They're jealous of Rumpel, I think. Lucette. Who? Annis. The other men. Annis looks over at the men that are glaring at Rumpel as he drifts between tables. Out loud. I'm worried about Rumpel, too. Lucette. What are you talking about? Annis. You were looking at Rumpel with a funny expression on your face. Lucette. No, I wasn't. My words are clipped, and my voice is cold. Annis looks at me sadly, but I do not care. What I do is none of her business. Annis. I think the girls are jealous of you, too. Lucette. What? I glance around the tavern and notice that there are girls glowering at me. I'm not accustomed to these glares, since people have I'm not unaccustomed to these glares, since people have always looked at me this way. Lucette thinking to herself. During the times I left the palace, people gave me the same looks, but this feels different somehow. Out loud. Why would they be jealous? Annis. Because you're Rumpel's partner. Lucette. I am not his partner. Annis. You're not? He's been telling everyone that you are. Lucette. Silence. Thinking to herself. I never agreed to being partners with him. Rumpel. I felt your longing gaze upon my back, and I have arrived, my princess. So at least he is popular enough to have girls be envious of Lucette for getting his attention. Catching his attention somehow. Rumpel suddenly appears before the two of us, smiling brightly. I suddenly have the strong urge to slap the smile right off his face. Lucette. We are not partners. Rumpel. But, princess, you asked for my advice. Advice that I gave you because I care. No. Sorry. No one else cares as much about you as I. Oh, I don't like that he said that. Oh, no one else cares about you as much as I do is... Oh, that's real close to the kind of, like, no one will ever love you as much as I do, red flag for abusive relationships. Oh, hopefully that is not how it was intended. Because usually that kind of thing, like, Lucette's mother said that to her all the time as a way to isolate her. Hopefully that is, Rumpel is just being stupid and not thinking about the implications of what he is saying and not actually trying to make her believe that no one else will care about her as much as he does. And I mean, he didn't say will ever, which is a pretty... okay, I don't like that he said that. Rumpel. And so I proclaimed us both partners because we are a match made in heaven. Lucette. Silence. Rumpel. You're so overwhelmed with gratitude that you are at a loss for words. Lucette. If I could throw something at you, I would. Rumpel. A punch packed with as much strength as your love. I can only groan in response. Parfait. Yeah, Ice Starmie. Lucette doesn't deserve to hear that, like... Oh, gosh, because, like, again, that's literally something her mother pulled on her, and that's... I don't even like that this seems to have passed by entirely unremarked on. Like, did the writers just not realize what they were doing there? Parfait. Oh my. Hello, everyone. It sounds like you're having fun. Lucette thinking to herself. How is this fun? Out loud. Rumpel is never fun. All he does is spout nonsense. Rumpel. Shocked. Parfait. He doesn't mean any harm, princess. He's just filled to the brim with so many compliments, and he needs to get them off his chest. Parfait, that is like the weirdest defense of him you could possibly have pulled. Okay. Lucette. Well, he can go directing them at one of his many other adoring fans. I shift my gaze to Rumpel and furrow my eyebrows at him. Or do you only direct them at me because you enjoy how much I ignore you? Rumpel. I only wanted to help, Princess. That's what partners do, right? Yeah, like, Starmie, I agree with you. I don't think Rumpel is... Rumpel probably isn't fully aware of the implications of what he said. It's just... I kind of feel like the writers aren't aware, because that would not be a terrible thing to play on, right? Like for them to bring up, like, you know, that to have made that kind of language to make Lucette uncomfortable because of how her mother treated her, and then have it be, like, a whole thing where Rumpel, like, learns about this and goes, oh, and, like, starts to, like, learn to curtail that kind of excessive language around her because of it. But, it looks like it was just... no one noticed that parallel, and everyone ignored it. And also, by the way, Parfait. Parfait. I don't... I do not like the way she is handling Rumpel. Lucette. But we are not partners. Rumpel. Just try this partnership out, Princess. I promise it will be worth your while. Parfait. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, Princess. You can always change partners. Rumpel. Lady Parfait, you've broken my heart! Parfait. You are very good at healing your broken heart by now, Rumpel. Okay, I do appreciate that. That was... Parfait is not wrong there. That is an accurate dig. I don't even think she realizes how much of a dig it is, but... accurate. Rumpel. Shocked. Parfait. Anyway, I am sorry to interrupt. I only needed to speak with Annis to make sure that she doesn't need any help with a particular list. Lucette. A list? Annis. A list of herbs for, Parfait. For me. Annis has been nice enough to gather herbs for me. Rumpel. Lady Parfait, is this about your body? Lucette. What's wrong with your body? Parfait. It's nothing to concern yourself with, Princess. My body is just a little frail because of the burden on it. Lucette, thinking to herself. That's right. Parfait mentioned having to bear the Crystallum Lucis. A thought occurs to me as I look at her more closely. Out loud. Wait, couldn't you use magic to heal yourself? Parfait shakes her head and sighs. I don't have the ability... Parfait out loud. I don't have the ability to heal. None of us do, except for one particular witch who calls herself the Witch Doctor. Rumpel. Witch... Doctor? Parfait. Is something wrong? Rumpel shakes his head and gives her a wistful smile. Rumpel. That name just sounds familiar. Parfait. It's likely you heard about her from someone else before. Humans do know of her existence, after all. Lucette. A witch? She's not a fairy? Lucette, thinking to herself. For some reason, I had thought fairies would be more likely to heal people, not witches. Parfait. She is indeed a witch. That is what they say. Though I have never met her myself. She is the only one who can heal illnesses with magic. She doesn't associate with other witches, though, and keeps to herself. Nobody has known where to find her for a very long time. Rumpel. Suffice it to say, we could never seek out help from her, even if we wanted to? Parfait shakes her head. Parfait. No, unfortunately not. Rumpel looks grim, but Parfait quickly dissipates the gloomy atmosphere with a clap of her hands. Parfait. If Delora was here, she would say, Alright, story time is over. Rumpel. That was all very interesting. Lucette, thinking to herself. Interesting, but it does not really help anyone. Out loud. Your body is the way that it is because of the Great War, then? Parfait. Like I told you before, the Great War has made my body a lot weaker. This is something that cannot be healed, and I don't have an heir, so... Parfait looks about ready to say something, but goes silent. She has a sad look on her face, and I don't understand why. Annis immediately speaks up. Annis. I think it'll be okay. I'll be okay, Lady Parfait. I was actually going to go on an errand run in a few minutes. Rumpel. Do you need any help? I would be more than happy to escort a lovely lady like yourself around town. Anis pulls a list from a bag nearby and holds it out. There are only a few items on the list as far as I can see. Anis. Don't worry about it, Rumpel. It's not that much at all. Rumpel stares at the list. His expression suddenly smooths into something more serious. Rumpel. May I have that? Anis hands him the list, and slowly he takes a pen out from his pocket. I stare as he looks over the list quietly, then scribbles some things down on the bottom. Afterwards, he hands it over to Anis. Rumpel. I've added some things that might be helpful. The herbs on that list are for joint pains, and you might want something a little more general. Lucette, thinking to herself, how does he know all that? Everyone is staring at Rumpel with wide eyes. Even Parfait looks impressed. And you know, I'll admit, as the player, I too am impressed. This is the most depth we've gotten to Rumpel's character in the entire game so far. Like, apparently he knows medical shit. That's cool. I have hope. Like, I'm trying to tone down my silly voice for him just because it's a little bit of an effort. I don't want to drop it entirely, but like I'm trying to make it a little less intense to make it easier on me. And I'm also like, I've always assumed that there would be times where he'd switch to something like to speaking a little more seriously, and so I'm like, and so my plan is to sort of drop some of the intonation entirely if it seems like he's actually saying things seriously. So cool, Rumpel has useful knowledge and things about him that are actually interesting. And it makes me think he definitely has some kind of personal connection to the witch doctor. Maybe that's who cursed him, which makes me wonder if, like, the curse was not actually meant as a punishment? I mean, maybe it was. Maybe he knows the witch doctor and it was meant as a punishment, but it'd be really interesting if someone cursed him for, like, you know, at the very least, or maybe, like, technically a punishment, like, with the intent of what Delora is doing for Lucette. Like, I think this will be good for you kind of thing. I mean, could be interesting. Interesting thought, anyway. Everyone is staring at Rumpel with wide eyes. Even Parfait looks impressed. Parfait. You've used herbs before, Rumpel? Rumpel. Maybe? I don't remember. But for some reason, names came to the top of my head as I was looking at that list. Parfait. Thank you. Rumpel. It is always my pleasure to help a lovely lady. Now, Anis, please let me accompany you to town. I would love to help with whatever I can, and more names might come to me. Anis. That sounds nice. Thank you, Rumpel. Rumpel turns to me, a mischievous smile on his face. Lucette, thinking to herself. Whenever he looks at me like that, I know he is going to suggest something ridiculous. Rumpel. Princess Lucette should accompany us, for the experience. Oh, cool. That's cool. Doctor mode is the best mode for Rumpel because those are the few moments when he is serious. Yeah, I kind of got that impression, and I'm like, goodness knows he needed something grounding about his personality to be even remotely likable, because so far there I had not seen anything about Rumpel that I particularly liked. But doctor skills, that's cool. That's a point I can latch onto and actually really like about him. So I'm glad for it. Lucette, I do not need experience. Rumpel, how are you going to shower people with compliments if you know nothing about them? Being out in town will be good for you. Parfait, Rumpel has a point. The more you expand your world, the more willing you are to learn about more people. More about people. Lucette, I do not need to be lectured. Parfait, oh, princess, it wasn't meant to be a lecture. I'm just letting you know that experience is invaluable. Rumpel. Come on, princess. Let us escort the lovely Anis around town. Lucette. What about your work? Rumpel puts a finger to my lips and grins. Rumpel. No one seems to have thought of that, so it will be our little secret. Lucette. Shocked. I slap his hand away, but he just grins at me jovially. Lucette, thinking to herself, how did I get dragged into this? Parfait. Please, don't stay out too long. Rumpel. We won't. Alright, I'm actually gonna be right back. So hold that thought. Alright, I'm back. Thanks for bearing with me. Alright, let's get right back to it. I make my way into town with Rumpel and Annis. The majority of the conversations we have are one-sided, with Rumpel giving us both the usual compliments. Lucette thinking to herself, he never seems to tire of it. Rumpel helps Annis pick certain herbs and a few other medications and accepts all of the compliments she gives him with a triumphant smile. Lucette thinking to herself, I know Annis knows about herbs because she's helped me before, but how does Rumpel know so much about them? This must be part of the past that he doesn't remember. Annis enters a store by herself at one point, leaving me alone with Rumpel. Rumpel. I'm a mysterious man, aren't I? I turn to look at him and notice the easy smile adorning his face. Rumpel. A man with amnesia is full of secrets after all. I bet you're even more curious about me. Women always love mysterious men. Hello, 6 card, back to Lucette and all of their, I will replace that with attractive glory. Indeed. Yes, back to the romance. And, oh my goodness, though, this guy, his archetype is, like, Playboy flirt, and I'm not loving it. Like, there's a couple of parts that are slowly starting to, like, can get behind, like, he's mysteriously knows medicine, but, like, this is definitely my least favorite love interest so far, unfortunately. But yeah, hi 6 card, and thanks for tuning in. Alright, let us go on. Lucette. I do not particularly care. Rumpel. But princess, if my curse is my amnesia, then shouldn't you care somehow? As partners, we're going to help each other out, right? Makes a bad joke, I'm still rich though, lol. Fair. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, basically this guy is very over the top. Oh, man. And it's funny, right? Because, like, in every other route so far, or I guess the only other 2 routes I've done so far, it's like, we don't know much about the curse because the characters are not forthcoming. They're keeping it a secret. Whereas so far, Rumpel is just like, no, but I want you to ask! And Lucette's just like, don't care. And so it's kind of funny that, like, the reason that we don't know much about his curse... I mean, I don't know how much more there is to know about his curse. He's got amnesia, and he needs to remember at least 3 things, somehow. But yeah, it's just... it's kind of interesting to have Lucette just not actually care very much about his curse, as opposed to the guy keeps their curse super secretive. Anyway, Rumpel. But princess, if my curse is my amnesia, then shouldn't you care somehow? As partners, we're going to help each other out, right? Lucette. I do not see how I can help you with your amnesia. Rumpel. Ah, maybe this is a spell that is only broken by true love's kiss. Shall we see? He leans towards me with a playful smile on his face. I am accustomed to this behavior by now, so this does not faze me, and I merely sigh at his nonsense. Lucette. You already said yourself that you need to gather entries from some kind of journal. Alright, fair. This is already going the only way I could possibly see it going. Yeah, Rod and Karma keep secrets about their curses, for sure. Like, I mean, to be fair, I don't know how many secrets Rumpel can keep about his curse when he just doesn't remember much about anything. But yeah, like, I mean, obviously here he was trying to, like, play on shit, and she's like, I literally already know that that's not how to break your curse. Because it came up the first time she met him. But yeah, this is already going in the only direction I can see it possibly working for Lucette to start liking him, which is to just become, like, oh, what's the word? Desensitized to his nonsense. Like, he's just so over the top so much of the time. She just starts being like, okay, I have set ignore mode for this nonsense and am going to act as though he has done nothing here. And I'm like, I can get behind that. He's all like, perhaps true love is cursed, and he leans in, and she's just like, yep, okay, I know that, and then just acts like nothing has happened. And I'm like, yeah, desensitizing to Rumpel's ridiculousness is the only way this could possibly work for Lucette to start to actually like him. Oh, interesting. Waltz is the most forthcoming, but, like, presumably only once we're on his route. Oh, Rumpel and Fritz don't know much about their curses. Okay, fair enough. So, Rod and Karma are the secretive ones. Rumpel and Fritz just don't have information to give. And Waltz is just like, yes, absolutely, let me tell you all the details. I will look forward to that, because I do kind of like when things just get explained. Anyway, so Lucette says, you already said yourself that you need to gather entries from some kind of journal. Rumpel. Ah, Princess, you're no fun. A little kiss wouldn't hurt anyone. Lucette. I would die before I kiss you. Rumpel. Princess, that's so sad! Lucette, thinking to herself. He says that, but he is still smiling. Why is he so unfazed by everything I say to him? Out loud. You only ever have terrible suggestions. It was a mistake to trust you might have good advice. Rumpel. But I have great ideas! Lucette. You haven't helped with my curse at all. Rumpel. I have been trying, though. Lucette. You haven't even told me how to get a good deed. Rumpel. I told you before, Princess. Compliments make a person happy, and making a person happy is a good deed. Lucette. So, you flirting with women and using shallow compliments on them is a good deed? Rumpel. On the surface, the compliments may seem shallow, but if you swim a little deeper... Lucette. Complimenting people cannot be a good deed. Rumpel. But making them happy is. And he's not wrong there. Lucette's not wrong. The compliment by itself is not a good deed, but making someone happy for the sake of making them happy is the one thing that I can get behind that Rumpel has argued is a good thing. Rumpel. All you have to do is listen to people, sympathize with them, maybe get to know them, and you can make them happy by doing even small things for them. Women enjoy the compliments, Princess. Besides, how could I see such beauties and not compliment them? It would be a disservice. Alright, sorry. But some women enjoy the compliments, and you are free to compliment them, because it's clearly making them happy. Some women do not enjoy the compliments, and you should be leaving them alone, and you are not. Alright. Moving on. Lucette. You give compliments to people you do not even care about. Rumpel. Princess! Rumpel's voice trails off as he stares past me. His smile falters for a few moments, and a look of confusion ripples his features. I turn to follow his gaze and see a small boy staring at us. He is shyly hiding behind some kind of notebook. Yeah. The problem here is that Rumpel uses too much flowery language, which brings exaggeration. Yeah, that's also a problem. Like, he goes really over the top. And there are probably even some people who wouldn't mind the compliments if he was a little less over the top about them. Yeah, and I do agree that it is really a stretch of the imagination to see chemistry between Lucette and Rumpel, but, well, we'll see how this keeps going. Rumpel. Silence. Lucette thinking to herself. There's that seriousness again. It was the same thing that happened when he added something to the list for Parfait. Then suddenly the expression changes into Rumpel's usual bright smile. Rumpel. Hello there! Would you like to come and speak with us, young sir? Boy, shocked. You don't remember me, sir? Rumpel. Oh, do I know you? Boy. I used to come to your clinic. You saved me before. The boy draws closer to us, still hiding shyly behind his notebook. Rumpel. I'm sorry, little sir. I'm afraid that my memories are a bit scrambled right now. I can't even remember my own name. Boy. Really? Lucette. Silence. Thinking to herself. Where is Annis? Why is she taking so long? The last thing I want is to hear a conversation between Rumpel and some child. Is he going to shower this boy with compliments too? Rumpel. It's a shame that I can't remember a boy as bright as yourself. Lucette thinking for herself. And there it is. You know, it's funny, because Lucette is annoyed because she sees this as an extension of Rumpel's usual nonsense, but I actually think this is nice. The only thing about Rumpel complimenting people that really pisses me off is when he pushes it on girls that are not interested, or is, like, really egregious and a little gross about how he, like, the statements he chooses to make, like inviting Lucette and Delora to, like, join him in his bed was really shady the very first frickin' time he met them. But like, I don't mind him just showering compliments to everyone he meets, because, like, that's not a bad thing. Like, you know, just, it's only shady if he wants something out of it. And with girls, it really seems like he wants something out of it. But when he's just complimenting, like, you know, a random kid, it feels more genuinely like he's doing what he says he is trying to do, and just making people feel happy, making people feel good about themselves by saying nice things about them. So I, you know, it's funny, because I'm like, this is one of the few times where my take is very different from Lucette's. I'm also kind of wondering, because, like, I noticed that she took specific interest in him going serious mode again, and I'm wondering if there's a little bit of gap moe going on. Like, oh, he's so ridiculous, but then that means those few times I get to see him be all serious are weirdly attractive. Oh, I love this. Oh, this is great. Ice Stormy is sharing the "Can I copy your homework" alignment for each of the love interests. Waltz, I'll help you with it. Rumpel, sure. Karma, bold of you to assume I did the homework. Fritz, wait, we had homework? And then we're just waiting on Rod, presumably. But I love it. I love it. Oh, gosh, and Rod, nope. Oh, those are all so good. Can I copy your homework in Rumpel? Sure. Rod, nope. Oh, I like all of those. Those are so good. Like, and I do also like the Karma, bold of you to assume I did it. Those are all very, very, very good. Alright. Thank you for sharing that, Ice Stormy. I appreciate the, like, memes and extra context and such that you bring to these streams. Alright, Lucette thinking to herself. And there it is. Boy. I'm not that bright, sir. Not as bright as you, but I want to be. He holds up his notebook, which has a small name scribbled in the corner. The words, "My dreams," are written on the front cover in cursive letters. Rumpel. What's this? Boy. I want to be just like you when I grow up, so I started a book of dreams, just like my mom told me to. She said I could become a doctor too, so long as I tried my best. Rumpel. A doctor? Boy. You forgot that you were a doctor, sir? Rumpel. Shocked. Lucette thinking to herself. Rumpel? A doctor? The boy continues to hold out the book, and finally Rumpel takes it and flips it open to the front page. Rumpel is holding the book close to his face, so I cannot see it. I rise to the tips of my toes and attempt to look over his shoulder. At first, Rumpel does not notice me as he stares at the page. Then, belatedly, he realizes I am there and lowers the book so that I can read too. I lean so close to him that our shoulders brush. My eyes scan over the page quickly. The handwriting is crude, barely readable actually, but I can still make out the gist of it. Rumpel slowly reads the words aloud. Rumpel. When I'm older, I want to be exactly like the kind doctor that saved me when I had no one else to go to. Boy. Shocked. The boy's face flushes as Rumpel reads his words aloud before his curious gaze lands on me. Boy. I don't remember you. I look at the boy, irritated. Boy. Are you the doctor's wife? Rumpel suddenly looks up, eyes wide. He looks down at the boy, then at me, his face suddenly solemn. I'm surprised by the words that leave his mouth next. Oh my goodness, okay, Rumpel. Yes, she is. Okay. Okay, I see Rumpel has gone from we have no connection to, oh, you briefly thought about being partners with me, so we're clearly partners, to, oh, someone asked if we're married, so I guess I'm just gonna say yes! Yep, only argument I can see is he grows on her like a fungus. For how she comes to fall in love with him by the end of this room. Lucette, shocked. He takes my hand in his and looks down at me, an almost sad look on his face. Lucette thinking to herself, what is wrong with him? Alright, well... maybe... you know, he seems kind of weirdly dismayed, and it makes me want to not be that violent. We'll see, I guess. I'm gonna say that the thing that feels more natural here is I'm a bit thrown by a loop by the ways in which he seems sad, so I'm just gonna do the pull my hand away. And in fact, Lucette reacts the same way I was thinking, which is thinking to herself, he has such a strange look on his face. Slowly, I try to pull my hand away, but Rumpel holds tightly to it. The sadness in his eyes becomes intense anxiety, and I see something like fear dancing in his eyes. I wonder if... I mean, he obviously doesn't fully remember things, but, like, he might still have emotional memories. And I wonder if maybe he was married and something bad happened to the wife, like she died or something. Oh, I see. Oh, yeah. Okay, Ice Stormy says the best ship name for Lucette and Rumpel was a spoiler, and so can now reveal that it is Icy Doctor. I can see it, yeah. Alright, anyway, I am purely guessing about why Rumpel seems so stressed, but yeah, like, emotional memories just sort of, like, hit harder and hit deeper than intellectual memories, so I could see the emotions remaining even if the memories don't. Rumpel. You really think it was my fault? Lucette. What? Boy. Sir? Rumpel squeezes my hand a little too tightly. He looks at me desperately. Rumpel. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Lucette. Shocked. Yeah, okay, I'm thinking he was married, or at least had a girlfriend, and she got sick and she died, and he blames himself for not having been able to save her. Whether he was a doctor before or after that happened, who knows? Lucette, shocked. Let me go! I finally managed to pry my hand free. Rumpel looks at me for a few moments, almost bewildered, and then his eyes suddenly widen. He looks back at the journal, then at me. Rumpel. I think I blanked out. I'm sorry, Princess. All at once, the sheepish smile breaks into something cheerful again. Lucette, thinking true. Okay, so now I'm thinking that no, actually, the correct answer there was to slap him because it would have snapped him out of the reverie. But we would have found less out that way, I feel like. But I'll go a little further just to double check, but we didn't see a right choice indicator, so I think maybe the answer is yeah, so I think I made the wrong answer and we'll have to go back and redo it, but I want to give it a little longer just to be sure. Oh, yes, and also Icy Casanova is definitely a good placeholder ship name until people have gotten to the spoiler about Rumpel. Yeah, the more, sorry, I didn't read that out loud because I'm pretty confident that, yeah, okay. So I was, like, reluctant to slap him because he seemed a little weird, but now I'm thinking that, no, actually, that was the right answer because it might have shocked him out a bit faster. and that was, like, clearly not a good headspace for him to be in. Yep. Alright, Starmie confirms. Slapping him was the right choice to get him out of the daydream. Well, maybe flashback would be a more accurate term. Alright, so Lucette, thinking to herself, what is wrong with him? And is going to slap him. Lucette, let go of me! Rumpel's eyes crease with worry as he holds tightly to my hand. The sadness in his eyes becomes anxiety, and I see something like fear dancing in his eyes. Okay, so this actually is the exact same text, so you don't lose anything by making the right choice versus the incorrect choice. They're actually weirdly similar outcomes. Rumpel, you really think it was my fault? The look in his eyes is so vacant, almost like he is looking through me. Okay, and here we go. Lucette thinking to herself. It is as if he is in some kind of trance. The way he looks at me makes my skin crawl. His grip on my hand tightens, making me shudder. Rather than slap his hand away, I reach out with my free hand and slap his face. I stare, perplexed, at the sudden bafflement on Rumpel's face. Lucette thinking to herself. Did the slap to the face knock him out of that strange trance? He is being even stranger than normal, and the intensity of the look in his eyes is scaring me. Yeah, okay, so he got lost in the pieces of a broken memory that is mostly gone, and... oh gosh, makes me wonder if he asked to be cursed because he wanted to forget, if he's really traumatized by this, you know, I mean, yes, I'm just theorizing, but it seems like a pretty likely theory based on what we're seeing. Certainly, some of his memories hold some kind of trauma, so there could be that he wanted to forget it. Lucette thinking to herself, he is being even stranger than normal. Oh, I already read this, but stranger than normal, and the intensity of the look in his eyes is scaring me. Rumpel, shocked. Rumpel stares at me for a few moments, blinking slowly. Rumpel, oh no, I blanked out. I'm sorry, princess. Lucette thinking to herself, what just happened to him? The way he was speaking was so strange, almost like he was in some kind of trance. But I know how people are. They lie and they put on faces. Rumpel, silence. I'm sorry for spacing out. If I invaded your space, then I am sorry. Well, that's an apology I never thought I'd hear Rumpel make. If I invaded your space, then I'm sorry. Like, okay, fair enough. He is at least a little bit conscious of that being not a good thing to do. Lucette, out loud. You are apologizing? I mean, maybe he is usually pretty careful about who he does and doesn't do that with, and, like, the degree to which he gets into people's space. More than certainly has been given any indication until now. But, like, I find it really promising that that was something he felt that he was able to think of and apologize for. Rumpel puts a hand to his cheek where I slapped him. Rumpel, I think I deserved that. Thanks for getting me out of whatever that was. All at once, the sheepish smile breaks into something cheerful again. Lucette thinking to herself, he is still smiling at me, even though I was so curt with him. Rumpel is so confusing. The boy looks bewildered. Rumpel, don't worry about that, little sir. This one here is a feisty thing. I deserved whatever she just did. Boy, so she is not your wife, sir? Rumpel looks a little surprised, then he laughs. Rumpel, unfortunately, no. The beautiful lady here is not my wife. Rumpel absently rubs at the back of his neck as he looks up to the sky. Rumpel, I'm not entirely sure of what just happened, but it seems like I recovered something very important today. Or the beginnings of something important. Lucette thinking to herself, something important? Is he talking about a memory? He hands the book back to the boy, and then he leans down and sets a hand on the boy's head. A bell chimes behind us as Annis comes out of the store, carrying a bag filled with what I assume are herbs and medicines. The boy once again cowers behind his book. Annis, oh, who's this? Rumpel, the wonderful little sir that helped me regain a very important memory. Annis, an important memory? Rumpel stands, looking triumphant. Rumpel. I, my good lady, am a doctor! Annis. Oh, really? Rumpel. Truly! Rumpel turns back to the boy, who he asks a few more questions. He even asks the boy his name, but much to my surprise, the boy shakes his head. Boy. I'm sure you told me your name, but I don't remember it. Lucette, thinking to herself. It is like my curse. No one remembers me being a princess, and no one remembers Rumpel's true name. That makes sense, actually. I like that. That's a bit of a reverse Rumpelstiltskin kind of deal, where it's like, you know, people have to guess Rumpelstiltskin's name, but in this case, we don't know the character's name, but like much like Rumpelstiltskin, nobody knows it anymore, and it has to be correctly guessed. And so, ironically, he is then going by Rumpelstiltskin, or at least part of that name. Rumpel thanks the boy again many times over, and even buys him a few pieces of candy. The boy's eyes are practically glowing with excitement, and he does not stop smiling. After we see him off and start to head back to the tavern, I begin to contemplate. Lucette. I am curious about something. Rumpel. Oh? Lucette. You said that you needed to fill your journal with memories in order to get them back, but the journal you just read wasn't yours. Rumpel. It appears not. It seems that the 3 entries that trigger my memories just need to be written by people I know. Reading them triggers a memory, and then the full entry probably appears in my journal. I ought to check it when I get back. Lucette. I see. Annis. But even without looking into the entry, a memory came into your mind? Rumpel gives a short, distracted nod. It's not complete, so I'm hoping that something really has appeared in my journal. It feels like it must, considering I remembered something so important. Annis. Do you remember anything else at all? Rumpel. The young man that we just met, I believe he came to watch me work before. I knew him. He used to look up to me. He was a sweet child. The memory is foggy, but yes, I believe something did happen to him. He became ill. The details of how I saved him must be in the journal. Lucette. Even though this does not, thinking to herself, even though this does not pertain to my curse, I'm curious what his journal might say. Rumpel. I can't remember fully, but the memory feels sad somehow. He turns to me, eyebrows knit together. It is strange to see him with such a serious expression on his face. Rumpel. I really am sorry about earlier, Princess. I think I was on the verge of a memory, but then it got tangled up in my head. I'm surprised by his sudden change in topic. I shake my head slowly. He's quiet for a few moments, before suddenly his smile comes back and he laughs jovially, telling us that there is no point in worrying. At the town's outskirts I turn, feeling eyes on my back, but no one is there. Uh-oh. I don't like the sound of that. Feeling someone looking at her is probably not a great sign. Oh, whoops. We give Parfait the medicines we purchased in town as soon as we arrive back at the Marchen. Then Rumpel proudly announces that he is a doctor to anyone that will listen to him. Everyone seems happy for him, save for the Marchen patrons that find Rumpel annoying, who are mostly men. Ugh, I also don't love that. It's like the women want him and the men want to be him kind of vibe they're going for there. But, I mean, I will admit there is some truth to that one. That does kind of happen. If a dude is very popular with the ladies, then a lot of other dudes will be intrinsically jealous of that. That is a true fact. Afterwards, Rumpel asks Annis if he might be able to take over the medications for Parfait, if only because Annis is busier than him. Lucette, thinking to herself, Rumpel hasn't been at the Marchen long, and yet he's already found something to help break his curse. And then there's me. Lucette, silence. Continuing to think to herself, I do not think anyone will be able to help me. At the end of the night, when I finally have time to myself, I return to my room to rest. The next day I am sent right back to my chores. Rumpel is nowhere to be seen in the morning, and Annis says it is because he is tending to Parfait. He appears later in the afternoon, still full of smiles and silly flattery as he goes back to serving. Lucette, thinking to herself, how does he have so much energy? That one's relatable. Gosh, how does anyone have that much energy? At the end of the day, I plop down on the settee to rest. My legs are weak from all the walking I have done today, and I can still feel the tiredness in my arms from all the sweeping with Mr. Broom. Oh, Ice Stormy says, they had to make it so the women, or most of the women, like his flirting so he wouldn't be a creep. I think in real life there would be far more women who wouldn't like his flirting. I agree. Like, I appreciate that we're seeing signs that he has some modicum of good sense about how he approaches things with some people. He just seems to be... But yeah, nah, realistically... and also, if he's really naturally complimentary to everyone, as the game is also trying to claim, then there should be more men and women who like him because he's nice to them. So yeah, I think you're right. I think the game is sort of playing up how much women like his attention so that he seems a little less creepy. Which I can't blame them for, because it is very easy for him to come across as extremely creepy, and they have not done much else to tone him down. At least at the beginning. Anyway, Annis comes in and says, Princess? I notice Annis standing beneath the doorway, smiling at me uncertainly. Annis. Thank you for your work today. Lucette, thinking to herself. Why is she thanking me for work I obviously do not want to do? Out loud. It's not as if I've asked to do any of this. Annis. But you still help. Annis nervously shifts on her feet. So, I, just wanted to say thanks. When I do not make any effort to continue speaking with her, Annis gives a nervous little nod before heading back towards her room. Not long after her departure, I hear an exuberant and familiar voice. Rumpel. I should count my lucky stars, for they are giving me a rare opportunity to meet with my lovely princess this late at night. Lucette, thinking to herself. I should have gone to my room. Rumpel stops before me, winking. The moonlight on your face makes your beautiful eyes sparkle like the most precious gold, princess. Lucette. I am not in the mood for your flattery. Rumpel. But princess, flattery is just a compilation of compliments. Everybody loves compliments. Lucette. I do not care for your compliments. Rumpel. Or Lady Annis's thanks, either? Lucette, thinking to herself. He heard that? Rumpel. You should learn to let people spoil you. I stare at him. Lucette, thinking to herself. That is the last thing I had ever expected anyone to say. My whole life I have been called spoiled and rotten, the Ice Princess. Even Delora and Parfait want me to do these good deeds because they think I am incapable of goodness. Okay, you know what? I will grant the game has given an angle that I can kind of see. That it's maybe good for Lucette to have someone who genuinely spoils her, because people treat her like she's spoiled, but we know damn well that she is not, and she had a very unpleasant and very lonely upbringing. Lucette, thinking to herself. Even Delora and Parfait want me to do these good deeds because they think I am incapable of goodness. I clench my fists and continue to stare at him, not understanding the swell of emotions inside me. Lucette, thinking to herself, why is he being so nice to me? Rumpel. Your first lesson is learning how to let people spoil you. He draws back his hand, reaches into his pocket, and presents me with a small yellow bag. Lucette. What's this? Rumpel. For you, my sweet princess. Alright, we're still in the point where I think maybe Tsundere Town is applicable, so let's try not accepting the gift. Lucette. I cannot accept your gift. Rumpel. But, princess, my advice. Lucette. You have no reason to spoil me. Rumpel. Princess, this is what I've been trying to explain to you all day. You don't need a reason to spoil someone. It doesn't always have to be about paying someone back. And oddly enough, he does manage to actually be touching on a point that she needs to learn, which is that people can be kind to you without reason. Which I just don't like. Like, they should really have toned some of his aspects down, because when he's flirtatious with people, it feels like he does want something out of it. And, like, the point of what she's supposed to be learning from him here is that he does this without wanting anything in return. And if... I'm sad that the game doesn't put more effort into making it feel like he doesn't want anything in return. But I guess they're kind of getting there once it's actually on his route, or now that it's actually on his route. I'm seeing more instances where I would say, okay, it feels like maybe he was just trying to, like, cheer someone up or be nice to them, and not like he was looking for something out of it. Alright. Lucette. Silence. Rumpel smiles a little sheepishly. Then he places the bag in my hand and curls my fingers around it. Rumpel. You deserve nice things, princess. Lucette. You barely know me, and yet you still say that? Rumpel. Barely know you. We may not have known each other personally, but that doesn't mean I don't know enough about you. I am giving you this gift because I truly want you to have it. Besides, this is both a thank you and an apology gift. A thank you for accepting me as your partner, and an apology for my behavior yesterday. I don't remember what I did, but both you and the boy seemed frightened. Okay, I like that visual. That visual's nice, I'll grant. Like, okay, this is... Alright, I'm really, really grateful that the game is already putting together scenes of Rumpel actually just being kind of genuine and nice. Because that's the thing, is he never feels genuine. And there's nothing wrong with, you know, being nice to people and being complimenty, but if it doesn't feel genuine, then it just loses the impact of everything they're trying to have him say, and everything they seem to be trying to have him represent that's positive. So, I'm glad to be seeing some, okay, I can work with some of the aspects of his personality based on what the game now seems to be trying to communicate about why he does it. I just would like if they had approached it a little more smoothly, I guess. I look down at the little bag. I open it up, and inside there is a little white chocolate piece fashioned into the shape of a flower. A lily. Rumpel. It's not much, but you absolutely must accept it, princess. Otherwise my guilt would drown me in the dark shadows of sorrow for the rest of time. And see, like, that kind of flowery I don't mind. Like, him being silly, I don't mind. It's, yeah, alright. I'm gonna try to push that aside and have more conversations about it at another time. But, like, I'm really glad that the game is doing some stuff that is making me not have positive feelings about Rumpel and not just a strong distaste. Yeah, and Ice-Storm is agreeing. It's exactly, most of the time he doesn't seem genuine, and that's a huge problem. But yes, and sorry, I missed some of your stuff, your previous commentary. I don't agree with much with the whole just shower people with compliments, but I do like that he saw her trust issues. I like that he said that she should learn to accept kindness. She has massive trust issues, and it's good that he acknowledged that. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. Like, if any time we see him showering people with compliments in a way that feels genuine, like it feels like, or even here where he's not, you know, my guilt would drown me in dark shadows of sorrow for the rest of time, is obviously not genuine, but it's silly, and it doesn't feel in any way harmful, and I'm fine with that. So thank you, game, for at least ending, or like, you know, getting towards the end of chapter 3 with coming out the other side of chapter 3, I think is how I want to put that, with a better face forward for Rumpel. I desperately appreciate that. Anyway, this lily-shaped chocolate was a nice gift. Yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, this is what I needed you to do, game, and thank you for doing it. I needed you to do things to make Rumpel likable, because he was just absolutely unlikable to me before. And now finally we are getting to see some things that feel like his good side, and, like, nice, and make me not just... like, I'm still struggling to see the romance between them. Like, I agree Ice Stormy, the chemistry's kind of feels a little forced, but at least we are finally getting to a point where there are, like, Rumpel seems to have redeeming qualities. Lucette thinking to herself, lilies are my favorite flower. Rumpel. They say you give a white lily to someone you enjoy spending time with. Oh, in floral language, they also stand for purity and majesty. He winks at me. Perfect for you, princess. Lucette. Why? Rumpel. Why what? Oh, Lucette. Why would you give this to me? No matter what you say about doing nice things for people, I don't see how that applies to me. And why would you thank me for being your partner? I did not even want to be your partner at first. Rumpel. But you do now? Lucette, shocked. I'm unable to withhold my surprise. Rumpel raises an eyebrow, then sighs. Rumpel. Princess, you don't trust compliments, do you? Lucette thinking to herself. Mother always told me that people were two-sided, that they'd say anything to make you believe that they were your friend. Out loud. No. Rumpel. Never fear, my sweet princess. I'll make sure I compliment you until you learn to accept them. Or she becomes desensitized to it and comes to the realization that his sheer deluge could not possibly be, like, a clever, manipulative front, because if he was being clever and manipulative, he would never do it to that excess. That's my headcanon for how this is actually gonna go. Or maybe not headcanon, but my assumption of how this is actually going to go. Lucette. But... Rumpel. No buts! I derive my happiness from making ladies like yourself happy. The compliments may seem strange to you, but don't worry, you'll see it in time. Lucette. See what? Rumpel. The connections between people. You assume I'm just a flirt, but I get to know an awful lot about people. It's the reason I can guess so much about you. And, like, I will grant, we have seen him be startlingly perceptive as time goes on. Like, at first he was not even a little bit, didn't feel... He is not a character who felt perceptive before we started to see this side of him in Chapter 3. But we are getting to a point where I'm like, I can see it. Yeah, okay, he's had a couple of moments where he's said things that are, like, clearly clever, observant things. Yeah, this is not the way to go about it, Rumpel. Like... Yeah, like I said, the only way I can headcanon this as actually working is that she just desensitizes to it because of the way he's choosing to do it. I see what he's trying to do, and I can even almost appreciate what he's trying to do, but it shouldn't be something that works for Lucette based on everything we know about her. So it's a little weird that the game decided that this time it was. Alright, so Lucette thinks to herself, what could Rumpel possibly know about me? Rumpel. So, what do you think? Are you more attracted to me now because of my mysterious aura, or my doctorly sophistication? And see there! You ruined it, Rumpel! I just was talking so much about how much I liked you better now, and then you ruined it! Because... Do you think are you more attracted to me is intrinsically feels like looking for something out of this? Like, even if you're joking about the women being interested in you, that's what ruins his compliments for me. Just ruins it. Oh well, I'm gonna try to cling to the nice things. The nice things that I saw before that actually made me kind of not hate him. And pretend that he did not just backslide. That's what I'll do. Yes. He leans closer to me, his eyes sparkling. Rumpel. I could be your own personal doctor. And it's like, okay, fine, that one's a little silly. Lucette, I will slap you if you touch me again. Rumpel pulls back and raises both of his hands in surrender, but the smile does not leave his face. Lucette, you really are hopeless, aren't you? Rumpel, and do you think so? I thought that events from today might have proven otherwise. Oh, speaking of which, I read over my journal earlier. His expression becomes oddly solemn. Shall I enlighten you? Lucette, why would you tell me all of this? Rumpel, oh, you're not interested? I thought you might be, since it was since I was your partner. Lucette. If I don't listen, you'll still tell me regardless, so feel free to share. Rumpel sighs as he flips the journal open. Rumpel. Unfortunately, it was not much. The memory began coming together again as I was reading, but a lot of it still doesn't make sense. I glance down at the entry he has stopped at. Rumpel. Look down at the bottom of the page, Princess. I follow his gaze to the bottom of the page and pause, noticing a conspicuous gap. Rumpel. There's no signature, and I always sign the end of every entry I write. I wonder if that might be the final piece of the puzzle. Lucette. The final piece of your curse? Rumpel. If my name refuses to show up in the book, it may very well be the final memory I need to regain. Lucette. You believe that the signature will be what gives you your true name, then? Rumpel. I have a feeling that might be the case. It was the first thing I noticed when the entry appeared. That would explain why the boy in town didn't know my name either. And there's something else. Lucette. Something else that is missing? Rumpel. The journal entry is cryptic at best. Vague. Almost like an incomplete puzzle piece. I stare at him, not understanding. Slowly, Rumpel begins to explain. Rumpel. It says here that the boy's family rushed him to my clinic. He had a terminal illness that I could not cure. He was at death's door and I couldn't save him. Lucette. But he's still alive, isn't he? He even said you saved him. Rumpel. Yes, there is a resolution in the journal, but it is not very helpful. I glance down at the journal entry as Rumpel continues to speak. I refused to give up. I knew that there had to be a way to save the boy. I never gave up on my patients. In the journal entry, I described someone who came to help me save the boy. He lifts the book and points to the words, reading them aloud. I met her for the first time tonight. She told me she had some way to help the boy, so we struck a deal. I hope I do not come to regret this. He definitely met the witch doctor. That's 100% must be, like, I am convinced that that was when he met the witch doctor and she helped him cure the terminal illness and such. He snaps the journal shut, startling me. He sighs as he runs a hand through his hair. Rumpel. That's it. Somebody helped me somehow, and I made a deal. I'm assuming this is related to my curse, but I can't say how. Lucette. Why did you write so vaguely? Rumpel. I wish I could ask my past self that same question. Lucette. So, in the end, you're still not sure when you were cursed? Rumpel pauses, then shakes his head. I believe it started here. Not the curse, but the events that led to it. There is a reason that this is the first memory to be triggered. It's important. For a few moments, the two of us are quiet. Rumpel's curse is a mystery, not because he is hiding it like Karma is, but because he does not understand it himself. After a few moments, Rumpel begins to laugh, breaking the silence. I look at him, startled. Lucette. What's so funny? Rumpel. Oh, it's not funny. It's just... This is all very mysterious, isn't it? And my mysterious past makes me more alluring, doesn't it? Lucette, thinking to herself. Only Rumpel could take such a serious moment and change it into this. Rumpel. Well, what do you think, Princess? Are you drawn into the mystery of it? Lucette. I have no choice. You'd tell me even if I didn't want to know. Rumpel. Oh, but you do! I can see the curiosity in your lovely golden eyes. And I could see it earlier today, too. Thank you for accompanying me into town. I believe that I only met the boy because you were there to guide my way. Lucette. We were looking for medical supplies. That boy appeared through mere coincidence. Rumpel. No, it was more than coincidence. It was destiny. And you know what? I'll grant again. None of that felt... It was over the top and it was silly and it doesn't make sense to me that Lucette is responding to it, but none of that felt problematic to me. So thank you, game, for finally starting to get there with Rumpel. Lucette. Fine, whatever you say. Thinking to herself. Listening to him is exhausting. It makes me realize how tired I am. All of these revelations are making my head spin. Out loud. I am going to bed now. I am too tired for this. Rumpel. It has indeed been a busy day. We will continue this enlightening discussion some other time. Lucette. Silence. Perhaps. I turn to walk away with the little chocolate in my hands. As I walk back towards the darkness of the hallway, Rumpel's soft voice echoes behind me. Rumpel. Sweet dreams, my princess. Alright, and that's the end of chapter 3, and no flashback this time, surprisingly. Oh, it's at the beginning of chapter 4, that's why. Okay. We will save it here. Alright, well, thank you so much for sticking with me. I am very relieved that we are starting to actually see some good sides of Rumpel, because it's like, I can get through this if I just struggle to see how it is that Lucette fell for him. I wasn't sure if I could get through this if I just actively disliked Rumpel the whole time. So I am I mean, to be fair, there's some extent to which I am grasping for things to make me not dislike him, but, like, I do actually think that it showed some good sides of him this chapter, and I am very grateful for that, because it's like, I want to at least not dislike the character. If I at least kind of like him, even if it doesn't feel totally realistic for Lucette to fall for him, I can still enjoy the route. So, I am grateful for that and hope that that trend continues and does not backslide. We will see. Alright. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out. I will be back at it next week. Wait, no, shoot. Next week is the week I'm missing. So there is no stream next week, the 18th. But I will be back the week after, which is the 25th. So no April 18th stream, but I will be back with chapter 4 on the 25th. So, all right. So I will see anyone who is here for this. I will see you in 2 weeks this time. And otherwise, my next stream, I'll be doing my normal Minecraft stream on Wednesday at 5 p.m. and hope to see some folks there. Oh, bye, Nason. Thanks for hanging out. And thank you, as always, Ice Starmie. I continue to thoroughly enjoy sharing this journey with you and your commentary and such. So, all right. Then I will head off now and see you all, hopefully around soon.